here is a behind the scenes of the composition of today's writing piece. It took me maybe 5 minutes because, here, let me just show you actually what I did, okay? So I pulled this card out, right? And which I'll be writing about. And also linked right here to ideology. And I remember this, well, I remembered it as I was looking it up. So I go and look it up in, well, HI, my ideology. This is called an index, right? And then, so if you can see 1617/1, okay? So I then navigate over to, and I've already pulled this out, it's a mess right now, okay? And I put this green here because that's the place of 1617/1, okay? 1617/2, it's interesting, because this is crisscrossed with essentially the philosophy and religion section of my anti-net, essentially my analog mind, okay? So when I pull it out, it referenced ideology, and oh yeah, I remember, it was this quote: "I think religion has always suffered when orthodoxy is more regarded than virtue." And this one resonates with me, and it still does, and it resonated with me apparently back then too. And so there's that piece and that component. So here we go. There's 1, 2, and then it follows the next card. So the next card is pulled up, and by the way, I do something kind of crazy right here. If you can see the note card ID, the ID, and this is kind of like the branched tree kind of view, but then you can mix and match and basically mix and match your mind and create at the time of creating based on essentially how you want to lay out your ideas and thoughts and piece it together in an atomic way. I have, of course, used Obsidian, right? I've, of course, used whatever. I've tried, let me think. Oh, of course, like I got introduced to this world from GitHub and Foam, foam.bubble, and that was awesome. And I remember my first very introduction to the world, that even the term Zettelkasten came from Foam, because Foam introduced it almost as if it was a cult-like religious type of, I don't know, system or community. And then I got confused by reading Zettelkasten.de, aka SashaKasten.de. But look, I don't hate the guy. I think he actually seems, quite frankly, cooler than I initially suspected. And I'm basing that essentially on one of the videos I watched of him. And he looks like a buff German mofo. And that's kind of cool. Anyway, that is still to be determined. But I'm going to continue on and not go off on a tangent. Anyway, so this referenced basically a people who write by hand. So people who write by hand, I went and looked at my index and I pulled up, if you can see over here, let's see, where was that? I think that was in people, and I have a list of people. P, oh yeah, P, it's over here. You can see. It's hard to do this shit with one freaking hand, by the way. You need to get like a videographer or something. Okay, people. So look, here's a list of people I've made, and this has evolved over time, and it's evolved in a hard, static way, kind of like evolution, like a tree evolves, okay? And it's stamped physically in the real world, okay? So here's people who I admire, 5442, okay? Who I do not admire / value, 5444, right? Copywriter and marketers, 5201. People search industry, there's like this people search industry, that it was a market that I was intrigued by. And so I did a ton of research. This is back in probably 2014. People who died thinking they were failures. People of MLM, multi-level marketing, which I think is, quite frankly, the biggest shit show of a market out there. And then people who write by hand. Oh, okay. So that's what I meant over here when I referenced in the link people who write by hand. So what do? I go look up in my brain 1323/77. And, once again, I've laid all this out, but here was where 1323/77 was. And interesting too is I have, Latin terms as an index as well. And kind of like what Lumen had. Lumen had a people index, which wasn't actually, used as fervently as his main index, but it's interesting because your index could actually be a part of your main part of your brain, your Zettelkasten, I still like the term antinet because Zettelkasten is confusing for a lot of people. Anyway, so that's where that card comes from. And then this card comes from, I think I was referencing, this quote, like, our state of confidence and belief in things are based on what we have experienced, not what we have learned intellectually. Okay? So then I was like, oh, okay, so that's a link to that basically card. And it's like a vine to that leaf in basically my second mind, right? And so what did I do? I navigated over to, what was that? 2459/1. And here I am, 2459/1. And I read this book, I think, I don't know, freaking even know, like maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And for some reason, I had it in mind when I created this, and I've completely forgotten about it right now. But thankfully, I have my second mind to stamp things in time, right? So our present state of self-confidence is a result of what we have experienced, not what we have learned intellectually. And so that is from Psycho-Cybernetics, which was a breakthrough, psychology book in the 1950s, right? So then, okay, so that's like, this is, you can see it kind of emerges over time. And then I can put this over here if I don't want to actually write about it. Or a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll go through this sequence and then I'll basically reference these things, right, to support it in the footnotes so people can explore more, right? And then here's the third piece. And I would essentially write or rewrite this out in digital form. And that should give you a little bit of an overview and of essentially how the anti-net works. And yes, I cracked open a little bit of Chardonnay, as you can see. And here's some of my books and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know why you're seeing why I'm doing this still. And I have not even sipped on the Chardonnay yet. And I'm going to go right now across the way over to San Diego after I finish, publishing this video probably. And I am going to go take my new soulmate, the love of my life, to a delightful little dinner. So, anywho, that's what I'm publishing today. I hope this helped you a little bit. And peace and love. I hope I do not come across as too much of a prickly dick on Reddit, but quite frankly, as you can probably tell, I am very freaking passionate about this. Oh, and by the way, when I write, and work on this stuff, my favorite color is green, so I always have my green lamp here. And B, I always have in front of me two people. These are my dream people that I am writing to, that I'm writing for, people that love to read, people that are interested in personal knowledge management. This girl actually kind of looks like my new soulmate, so that's kind of cool. Of course my soulmate is 1,000 times more beautiful, because in case she's watching this right now. And of course, this guy who kind of reminds me of me. I just named him Sam, right? So as you can tell, I'm really just freaking passionate about, and here's this is badass. I've gone overboard on the analog world. I have these, so a lot of the times, and here's my computer setup, right? A lot of the times I literally just leave my computer in my office cabinet thing that they gave me, and I don't even take it out. It's the weirdest, craziest thing, because I used to be like, how do you even work or get shit done without a computer? Well, there's people in this world, believe it or not, that do that. And those people have continued to do it and still do it every single day. And I'm talking about people like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and quite frankly, a lot of other people. For instance, let's talk about this one. Here's people who write by hand. Let's go back to this. So Jerry Seinfeld. And then I have the sources on the back. And by the way, that's a myth. People think that Lumen never wrote on the back of cards, and I'll show you that as well. He has freaking, actually, yeah, I don't want to do it right now because I got to go in a little bit. But, and I really want to do it, like, because I have it, I have the mythology section of, here's like basically the mythology section of Lumen, okay? I think it's like, for some reason, you'll start to remember certain like things, you know, like I know it's like 3EA, I believe, is, yeah, the mythology section. Yeah, okay, yeah, so here's an example of Lumen actually copying down quotes. That's an Arenzian myth. Here's a map of essentially, you know, a collective, right? Which is just basically an associative array. It's a list with a link to it. I don't know why you have to freaking call it like structured titles or fucking maps of content. It's just irritating. I get freaking passionate and fired up about this. So, you know, I don't mean to be coming across as a dick, but it's just so infuriating that this system, which is so freaking magical and wonderful, which Lumen freaking exposed and showed to the world. And look, I have all of these papers. I've gone through this for like 4 freaking months. This one, this Johann Schmidt one, took me like a month and a half of coming here 6 days a week and going through every single part of this, okay? So, yes, I may come across as a, you know, whatever his name is, Nicholas Nassim Taleb, you know, curmudgeon little prickly bastard, but I assure you, and you have my word for it, because, you know, obviously I'm unbiased in this opinion, I assure you I am not. I'm just freaking fired up and passionate. And I don't know everything either, okay? I'm learning with you guys, and yeah, okay, that's all I really want to say. Oh, 6:42, holy crap, I've got time. Okay, I have to go freaking run around, well, I have to meet my soulmate at 7 o'clock p.m. So, you know, I've got like good time, so. Anyway, I'm going to publish this video, and hopefully this will help someone out there and really help you guys open your mind. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more. All right, peace and love. Bye.